If you are thinking of moving to Nashville, I'm sure it's crossed your mind to think about, is Nashville a safe place to move to live, to visit, all that kind of fun stuff. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to be telling you the truth, whether you like it or not. So stay tuned. Up everyone, this is Tiffany Gudger with Tiffany Gudger Real Estate right here in Nashville, Tennessee. If this is your first time to my channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, working, playing, moving to the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area, and what it's like to buy, sell, or invest in real estate here, all that kind of fun stuff, make sure you go ahead and hit subscribe and click that little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. I get people reaching out to me every day from all across the country looking to move and relocate to Nashville. And while I love doing these videos for you guys, that's my favorite part about my job, is actually helping you find properties. So if that interests you, or if you have any questions, please reach out. I would love to help, but the only way I know to help is if you give me a call. You can shoot me a text, send me an email. Days, nights, weekends, however you want to get a hold of me is great. I am here to help however I can. So that being said, today we are going to talk about Nashville and if it's safe. There is the obvious that I live here, and I wouldn't if I thought it was too bad. I don't think, but or that's, I like to think that if it was super dangerous, I wouldn't be here. But I do have something I'm going to say pretty bluntly, and just stick with me. Let me explain, because it's probably not what you expect to come out of my mouth right now. And I think as I get more comfortable with these videos and really talking to you guys and finding myself through doing these videos and getting to know you, and like I said, just becoming more comfortable, I think I'm gonna start doing something I like to call TIFF Talks. So like TED Talks, but it's me. And I just really tell you guys the truth, the honest to goodness truth, not sugar-coated, not made to look good, and answer questions that you guys post down below in the comments or email to me. And there'll be quick little snippets maybe in between these videos where I just do a quick TIFF talk about whatever it is you guys reach out to, or whatever I think about that is going on in Nashville at that time. So also comment down below if you think that would be a good idea, just shorter videos and that kind of stuff. But I say that to say some of these TIFF Talks that I'm going to incorporate, hopefully in the future, will be bluntly honest like this statement. Let me say, so I've got my notes here just to make sure I mention everything. And the blunt statement I'm going to say is Nashville's crime rate is higher than the national average. That's it. Like, that's what I want to make sure you're aware of. That being said, that's the case for a lot of big cities, big suburbs with high density populations and that kind of stuff. So I do want to say that Nashville is higher than the national average, the crime rates here. However, I do want to dive into that just a little deeper. And while I am going to explain that to you, if that bothers you and you're like already like, no thanks, Tiff, like that's a red flag, at least stick around for a little bit, because at the end of this, I'm going to go over some of the safest neighborhoods actually in Nashville. I'll mention those here in just a minute. And some of the safest neighborhoods or suburbs in the state and in the country even. So that are good options or alternatives to actual Nashville city limits. So stick around, even if this kind of freaks you out a little bit. Like I mentioned before, I do live here. I have no qualms about living here. I don't live in Nashville proper. I live in a suburb outside of it, but I have never personally been a victim of a crime here in Nashville. And not that they don't happen, because of course they do, but me personally, I don't have any experience with that. I will say, like most cities, Nashville as a whole is not super dangerous. A lot of what actually brings down the rating for Nashville as far as crime, violent crimes, property crimes, all that stuff, is really just a few select clusters of areas. And it just brings down the city as a whole. So there are areas to avoid, just like everywhere. As a real estate agent, I can only get into that so much. So just do some research and Google it and you can find out a lot of that information. But I will say it's basically kept to a couple small areas. Sorry, my email's blowing up. So many neighborhoods, and I got a couple that I want to make sure I mentioned: Green Hills, Sylvan Park, Westmead, Belmont Hillsborough, just to name a few of them, are actually considered really safe neighborhoods. But again, the crime rate's just brought down by a few select areas. The Vanderbilt area, where the hospital and the college is, actually the safest neighborhood in Nashville, according to neighborhoodscout.com, which is a good reference or a resource for you guys that are wanting to do some of your own digging. I will say crime rate in Nashville, like in the country as a whole, is actually decreased since the 90s and early 2000s. So we are decreasing and getting better all the time. So that is something to take note. It's technically getting safer over time, which may seem hard to believe, but it is. Also, most tourist spots are actually considered relatively safe because they're so busy, there's so much traffic and so much going on, that most of the popular neighborhoods and areas for tourists and locals alike are some of the safer places in the city because they are so busy and bustling. And I know in cities and places like that, pickpocketing is a common concern. And, you know, while it does happen here in Nashville, I'm sure, I have read that in comparison to other large cities, it happens a lot less here. I don't know if it's because people in Nashville are just inherently more, I don't know, aware of their surroundings, or maybe it's the Southern hospitality, or maybe it's, you know, on Broadway, everybody is just too buzzed or drunk and walking to bars and having a good time to even worry about trying to steal somebody's money. I don't know. But pickpocketing here is less of a threat than other big cities. I will say one crime that is up here, based on some research that I've done, is property crimes. It's, and it's not like rapidly increasing, but it's not decreasing as fast as like some of the other crimes and stuff. But, it's becoming popular for thieves to, they're learning not to steal from, the more impoverished areas. They're learning that if they go to a nicer neighborhood, where people might be even be a little more trustworthy and forget to lock their cars or that kind of stuff, if they're successful, they're probably going to come out with a little more loot than if they're in the less expensive areas, I guess to say. So that's growing, like just not really carjacking, but breaking into cars here is just something that is becoming more prevalent. I don't know if it was with the pandemic or, you know, the money, like people didn't have money from work or whatever it is. But just an easy way to combat that is just keep your vehicle doors locked, get you a Ring camera, you know, security camera. And most of that occurs in the evenings and at nighttime and when it's dark. But I highly recommend still locking your vehicles during the day. And another thing I'll say about that is, if you've watched my other videos, you've definitely heard me talk about Southern hospitality here in Nashville in the Middle Tennessee area. And it is a real thing. When we moved into my neighborhood, if you're not aware, my fiance is, he travels with a country music artist and he is gone regularly. And while I'm alone a lot, it doesn't fret me to say that. And I don't really worry about it as much. Number one, I definitely know how to protect myself with a firearm. Number two, I know all of my neighbors and they know to watch out for me. I watch out for them when they're out of town, and we really, really have each other's backs. Some of my best friends currently are neighbors that I just met from getting out walking the dog and all that kind of stuff. And we've become really good friends, and it's, you know, basically a, informal neighborhood watch. Everybody here is really friendly. They usually want to know their neighbors and be involved and help you out and watch your house. And again, now we have like Ring doorbells and security cameras and stuff like that. And you are actually 300 times more likely to have a break-in if you don't have a security system. So another easy fix, know your neighbors. They're friendly and they're going to want to have dinner and grab a beer or something like that. Anyway, you're going to have a good time. And get a security system. The biggest thing you need to worry about here is property theft, for the most part, in my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm not a professional. I just do my research and kind of report back to you guys. Also, something that I've been asked about, yes, there is homelessness here. I don't know of a city where there is not any. There is, you'll mostly see people kind of around, you know, the red lights downtown, or it doesn't have to be downtown, but at red lights, you know, asking for money and stuff like that. We don't have super huge homeless camps everywhere or anything like that. From what I understand, it is a lot better than in, you know, Oregon and California and all those places. It is a thing here, so there is that. But I will say, overall, I do feel really safe in Nashville, which will bring me to some other options for those of you who've been waiting, of other suburbs or areas that might interest you that are really close to Nashville. The first one on my list is the safest city in all of Tennessee, and it consistently ranks on the top list of safest cities in the country, and that is Brentwood, Tennessee. It's about 15 minutes south of Nashville, so you are literally right next door to Nashville. I think part of what attributes to that is Brentwood has a lot of gated neighborhoods. It is a more affluent area and that kind of stuff. But the safest in Tennessee, and it is literally 15 minutes from Nashville. The next on my list is the second safest city in Tennessee. So while we do have crime here and we are above the national average technically in Tennessee, we do have the number 1 and number 2. And the next one I'm going to list is the number 4 safest cities in Tennessee. And I think the majority of the top 10, if not all of the top 10, I can't really remember, are within like a 40 to an hour long drive, 40 minute to an hour long drive of Nashville. So a lot of them are around here, actually. So the number 2 is just south of Brentwood, which is Franklin. And a lot of you have probably heard of Franklin. It is a beautiful area, has an awesome like downtown historical vibe to it. And it's super popular for new people moving here as well. It's growing like crazy, but it is the second safest in Tennessee. And so that would be my number 2 recommendation. And my number 3 recommendation might come as a surprise to some of y'all. The 4th safest suburb or city in Tennessee is Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is northeast of Nashville. It is located right along Old Hickory Lake, which is actually a man-made lake that just kind of dammed up the river, the Cumberland River that actually flows into Nashville. But Hendersonville is right on the lake, so you can even get a property on the lake there. It's not as expensive as Brentwood and Franklin, and like I said, it's the number 4 safest in Tennessee. And so that's just to name a few. A majority of the suburbs surrounding Nashville have great crime rates. You can check a lot of that out on a lot of the websites online to get the actual numbers. I didn't want to bore you guys with just numbers and giving you like, oh, this percentage of crime rates, this, that, and the other. Just the basics of what you need to know, and you can do your own digging, or if you want me to help you and get you some more information, I am more than happy to. So comment down below. Let me know what you think about this video, if you found it informative. any comments you have, anything else you might want to know about relating to this, or anything about living here in the Middle Tennessee area, any ideas you might have for my next videos, or anything you want to know. Feedback on what you think about having TIF Talks. Kind of sounds like TikToks too. I don't know. Working theory here. So that being said, again, thank you guys for watching this video. My name is Tiffany Gudger. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Let me know if you have any questions. Here's my information, and I would love to help. So until the next video, guys, we'll catch you later.